Have you ever felt a persistent unease, a nagging sensation that the life you're leading isn't truly your own? It's as if you're performing a script penned by someone else, parents, teachers, friends, society, while deep within something screams in protest. You wake each day, don the familiar facade, fulfill obligations, and interact as if all is well. But then, in the quiet moments, an uncomfortable question surfaces. Who am I, really? This pervasive feeling of disconnection, as Carl Jung theorized, is far from coincidental. Instead, it's a profound symptom of an underlying issue most people lack the courage to confront. Many navigate their entire existence without ever truly knowing themselves. Content to inhabit social roles, manufactured identities, and external expectations. The tragedy? They genuinely believe this superficial existence is all there is, ultimately dying without ever having encountered their own soul. The crucial question then becomes, is this happening to you? Consider for a moment that what you perceive as yourself might not be you at all. Your personality, your desires, your beliefs, how much of this truly originates from within, and how much has been subtly implanted by others. From early childhood, we're conditioned to conform, to be acceptable, to suppress certain facets of ourselves in pursuit of love and acceptance. This process leads to the creation of persona, as Jung termed it, a social mask, a carefully constructed disguise we present to the world for protection and integration. We all possess a persona. If you've ever found yourself behaving differently at work, at home, with various friend groups, or even on social media, you've witnessed its influence. While the persona is undeniably useful for social navigation, enabling us to interact effectively, it harbors a significant danger. When you become completely identified with this mask, you begin to forget your genuine self. Think of it like an actor who, after years of playing a single role, loses touch with their own identity. The lines between who they are and the character they portray blur, eventually dissolving completely. Think about it. How many times have you spoken or acted purely for acceptance? How often have you concealed your true thoughts, fearing judgment? How many moments have you smiled outwardly while inwardly screaming? This occurs when the persona transcends its role and begins to dominate your very existence. You cease to be an authentic individual, becoming instead a character playing a part you didn't consciously choose. Herein lies the profound problem. The persona, by its nature, cannot nourish your soul. It might bring acceptance or compliments, but never genuine fulfillment or happiness. Over time, living solely through this mask leads to an empty existence, a persistent sense of an essential missing piece you can't quite pinpoint. This isn't just a fleeting feeling. It's a deep existential ache. You might achieve all the external markers of success, a good job, a beautiful home, stable relationships, yet still feel a profound emptiness. This is the cost of living an unlived life. And the more tightly you cling to this facade, the further you drift from your true essence. But if this persona isn't your true self, then who are you, truly? To answer this, we must delve into the other side of the psychological coin, the part of you that has been repressed and pushed into the unconscious. Jung called this the shadow, and it's where the authentic quest for your true self truly begins. Be warned, however, what lies hidden in the shadow is not always easy to confront. Are you ready to discover it? If the persona is the mask worn. For acceptance, the shadow encompasses everything you conceal to avoid rejection. The critical insight here is that what you repress doesn't simply vanish. On the contrary, it gains immense power within your unconscious, subtly influencing your emotions, fears, and life choices without your awareness. Jung described the shadow as the hidden, darker side of the psyche, composed of everything that has been deemed unacceptable and pushed away throughout life. Forbidden desires, suppressed anger, unacknowledged weaknesses, and forgotten traumas. It's like a closet where you've shoved everything you don't want to look at. But the contents of that closet still exert a powerful, unseen force on your living space. What's particularly crucial to understand is that many elements within your shadow aren't inherently bad. They are simply parts of you that, at some point, someone else deemed unacceptable. Perhaps as a child, your boundless curiosity was labeled inconvenient, teaching you to remain silent. Or maybe you felt a surge of anger but were told it was wrong, leading you to swallow frustrations until they violently erupt. You might have expressed sensitivity only for society to convince you it was a weakness, prompting you to hide your feelings. All these denied aspects didn't disappear. They merely receded into your shadow, awaiting their emergence, and emerge they do. If you've ever had an inexplicable outburst of anger, felt secret envy, or reacted disproportionately to criticism, you've experienced your shadow taking the reins. When consciously ignored, it manifests in distorted ways, sabotaging relationships, careers, and self-esteem. It's the inexplicable self-sabotage, the repeated patterns of failure, or the sudden, overwhelming emotions that seem to come from nowhere. But here's the profound truth rarely spoken. Your shadow is not your enemy. In fact, it often houses your most valuable attributes, your creativity, your authenticity, your untapped strength. Think of artists who channel their melancholy into masterpieces, or leaders who leverage their past struggles to inspire change. You cannot become whole until you integrate this part of yourself. To do so, you must cease fleeing and begin looking inward. So, how do you approach this often daunting task of shadow work? It's not about letting your shadow run wild, but about conscious engagement. Acknowledge and observe. Start by simply noticing. When do you feel disproportionately angry or resentful? What triggers strong, uncomfortable emotions in you? What traits do you criticize most vehemently in others? Often, what we judge most harshly in others is a reflection of our own unacknowledged shadow aspects. Journling. Write freely about your fears, resentments, and the parts of yourself you're ashamed of. Don't censor yourself. This can provide immense insight into the contents of your shadow. Dream analysis. Dreams are a direct line to the unconscious. Pay attention to recurring symbols, characters, or feelings in your dreams. They often provide clues about your repressed self. Jung believed dreams are the language of the soul. Embrace vulnerability. Share your struggles and perceived flaws with a trusted friend, therapist, or mentor. The act of bringing these hidden parts into the light of shared human experience can greatly diminish their power over you. Creative expression. Engage in creative activities like painting, writing, playing, or any other artistic outlet. These can be powerful ways to externalize and process unconscious material. This integration process is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing dialogue with your inner world. How do you confront something repressed for so long? How do you bring your shadow into the light without letting it overwhelm you? The answer lies in a central tenet of Jungian psychology, the self. If the persona is the mask and the shadow is all you've repressed, then the self is what exists beyond these layers. It represents the totality of your psyche, the harmonious integration of who you truly are, and the aspects you present to the world. Jung believed that the ultimate purpose of life wasn't merely to follow a societal script, but rather to achieve wholeness, to discover your authentic essence and live in alignment with it. This intricate process of self-discovery and integration is what he termed individuation. However, finding the self isn't a passive event, a sudden flash of magical epiphany. The self does not reveal itself to those unwilling to confront their own truth. You must actively seek it, embarking on a deep, introspective journey within. This quest demands a confrontation with everything you've been taught to conceal, a reconciliation between your most authentic desires and the limitations imposed by the external world. The greatest obstacle to discovering your true self is fear. Fear of losing the identity you've meticulously constructed. Fear of realizing that many of your choices weren't truly your own. Fear of facing aspects of your personality you've long denied. This pervasive fear causes many to never find their self, instead clinging to their persona, pretending to be someone they're not, while their shadow covertly sabotages their chances at genuine happiness. They remain in the comfort of the known, even if that comfort is a cage. But when you courageously begin to integrate your shadow and question the masks you wear, something transformative occurs. You experience a profound sense of liberation unlike anything you've known before. You discover you no longer need to pretend, no longer need to please everyone. You start acting authentically, making decisions that resonate with your inner truth, rather than merely fulfilling external expectations. The most intriguing part? The closer you align with yourself, the more clarity and meaning life acquires. The anxieties and frustrations that once seemed inexplicable begin to reveal their clear origins. You comprehend why certain patterns repeat, why specific situations affect you so deeply, why particular relationships never flourished. You begin to realize that throughout your life, an inner compass was attempting to guide you, but you were too preoccupied with fitting in to listen. However, there's a vital detail. The path to finding the self cannot be walked in isolation. There's a fundamental element in this journey that many overlook. The collective unconscious and the archetypes that profoundly shape how we think, feel, and behave. Without understanding these hidden forces, you can never fully grasp who you truly are. The human mind extends far beyond our conscious awareness. Much of our psyche operates at a deep, unseen level. Jung posited that to discover the self, it's insufficient to merely examine our rational thoughts and daily decisions. We must delve into the depths of the unconscious, for it is there that the fundamental patterns shaping our identity reside. But what precisely constitutes this unconscious realm? Beyond your personal shadow, beyond repressed memories and unrecognized desires, lies something even more profound. Archetypes. Jung discovered that the human psyche isn't a blank slate. Instead, we are born with universal mental structures, primordial, patterns of thought, behavior, and emotion shared by all people, irrespective of culture or time. He named this the collective unconscious, and from it emerged the archetypes, primal images that profoundly influence how we perceive the world and ourselves. If you've ever felt an inexplicable resonance with certain stories, myths, or symbols, it's because archetypes are actively at play within you. They manifest in fairy tales, films, religions, and most importantly, in your own dreams and behaviors. For example, the hero archetype is almost universally present, representing the individual who confronts challenges, overcomes obstacles, and seeks transformation. Then there's the wise one, symbolizing knowledge and introspection. The rebel, who challenges established norms. The innocent, seeking safety and purity. The explorer, driven by curiosity and discovery. And the caregiver, dedicated to protecting and serving others. What's most fascinating is that you don't consciously choose which archetypes influence your life. They operate within you beneath. Your awareness doubt the problem arises when you identify exclusively with one archetype while neglecting others. If you see yourself only as the hero, you might feel an immense pressure to constantly be strong, unable to accept your own vulnerabilities. If you live solely in the role of the caregiver, you may spend your life prioritizing others' needs over your own well-being. This creates an imbalance, leading to a feeling of being incomplete or stuck in a narrow role. Finding your true self means balancing these archetypes, recognizing which ones dominate your life, and consciously integrating those that have been overlooked. This isn't about becoming a different person, but rather about becoming a more complete and well-rounded version of yourself. For example, a dominant hero might need to cultivate their inner wise one to make more considered decisions, or caregiver to develop empathy. How do these archetypes manifest in your life? Through your dreams, your sudden impulses, the stories you're drawn to, and the recurring patterns you experience without fully understanding why. To ignore them is to ignore essential parts of yourself. This is why so many feel adrift. They fail to grasp the invisible forces shaping their desires, decisions, and even their deepest existential crises. Crucially, if you remain unaware of these archetypes, they will control you, dictating your behaviors, insecurities, and relationships. But by recognizing and integrating them, you seize control of your own narrative. A key distinction between those who find their true self and those trapped in automatic patterns. What happens if you choose to ignore all of this? What fate awaits? Someone who refuses to look into their unconscious, who resists individuation, and continues to live behind masks and illusions. The answer lies in the profound psychological suffering that inevitably accompanies those who flee from themselves. This is the inherent danger of non-individuation. Carl Jung was unequivocal. Avoiding the process of individuation doesn't ensure safety. Instead, it condemns us to a fragmented existence, riddled with anxiety, frustration, and an insatiable emptiness that nothing external can ever fill. Many believe that adhering to societal norms and expectations guarantees a peaceful life. Yet, this tranquility is merely superficial. Inevitably, something begins to fray beneath the surface. This can manifest as unexplained emotional crises, persistent dissatisfaction even amidst seeming perfection, or the emergence of psychosomatic illnesses. Your mind and body will always find ways to signal when you've strayed too far from your authentic nature. Non-individuality and often reveals itself through destructive patterns. Have you noticed how some individuals repeatedly make the same mistakes, entering abusive relationships, sabotaging their achievements, or living in perpetual discontent? This occurs because when we fail to address what's hidden within, we become prisoners of our own unconscious, which finds ways to express itself even if through suffering. It's the universe's way of persistently knocking on your door, trying to get your attention. Another common symptom is merely existing, rather than truly living. This manifests as a monotonous routine, a life devoid of purpose, a sense of drifting aimlessly without clear direction. This is the reality for millions who have never questioned whether the life they lead is truly the life they chose. They follow inherited patterns, imposed beliefs, and external expectations without pausing to ask, does this truly make me happy? And perhaps the most insidious consequence, resentment. When individuals ignore their true selves, they inevitably harbor anger, often without knowing its source. They may externalize it, blaming the world, the system, family, or society for their suffering. Or they may internalize it, leading to depression, self-sabotage, and a profound disconnection from their own existence. This resentment can fester, becoming a chronic bitterness that poisons every aspect of life. Yet, there's a way out. There's a path to break this cycle and liberate yourself from this invisible prison. The answer lies in the courage to face your truth, to question your illusions, and to actively pursue individuation. This process is not easy. It demands strength, unwavering determination, and the willingness to look inward, even when what you discover is uncomfortable. It's a journey that requires sustained effort, like tending a garden, constant weeding, nourishing, and patience. Now we arrive at the crucial question. What does it truly mean in practice to be yourself? What is it like to live without masks, without repression, without the fear of external judgment? What happens when you genuinely find your authentic self? Finding your true self is not a destination. It's an ongoing journey. It's not a sudden epiphany, but a lifelong process of discovery, deconstruction, and reconstruction, confronting shadows and liberating yourself from imposed masks. It's a continuous unfolding, a deepening relationship with your inner landscape. It's a path few choose. Most prefer the perceived safety of conformity. They cling to their personas, believing that without them, they'd face rejection. They avoid their shadows, fearing what they might uncover. They ignore the archetypes guiding their lives, unwilling to admit their lack of ultimate control. But this fear exacts a heavy toll, an empty existence, devoid of authenticity, depth, and genuine meaning. Jung demonstrated that true freedom isn't found in conformity, but in becoming who you authentically are. This means embracing your wholeness, your strengths and your flaws, your light and your darkness. It means taking command of your own life, rather than being merely a product of your environment, culture, and others' expectations. It means abandoning the role of a puppet and becoming the author of your own story. This path, however, demands immense courage, courage to release comfortable illusions, to face your deepest fears and insecurities, and to accept that you might not be who you once thought you were. And that's perfectly okay, because now you have the opportunity to become someone far grander, more authentic, and more alive. That's so. How do you actively engage in this journey of individuation? Self-reflection and journaling. Consistently carve out time for introspection. Ask yourself challenging questions. What am I avoiding? What truly makes me feel alive? Where am I compromising my truth? Writing down your thoughts and feelings can illuminate unconscious patterns. Dream work. Keep a dream journal. Dreams offer symbolic messages from your unconscious, providing clues about your shadow, your archetypes, and your path toward wholeness. Learning basic dream interpretation can be incredibly insightful. Active imagination, this Jungian technique, involves engaging in a conscious dialogue with figures and symbols from your unconscious, often through visualization or writing. It's a way to actively interact with your inner world and integrate its wisdom. Engage with myths and stories. Pay attention to the myths, fairy tales, and stories that resonate with you. These often contain archetypal patterns that can offer insights into your own psychological landscape. Seek professional guidance. A qualified Jungian, analyst, or therapist can provide invaluable support and guidance on this complex journey. They can help you navigate difficult unconscious material and facilitate the integration process safely. Embrace discomfort. The path to individuation is not always comfortable. It often involves confronting painful truths and letting go of old, familiar identities. Embrace this discomfort as a sign of growth. Cultivate authenticity in daily life. Make small, conscious choices each day to align with your true self. This might mean saying no when you normally say yes, expressing an unpopular opinion respectfully, or pursuing a passion that doesn't fit your persona. Remember, individuation is not about becoming perfect, but about becoming whole. It's about becoming your truest, most authentic self. Living a life that truly resonates with your inner being God. So I ask you, are you ready for this profound challenge? Are you willing to question the narratives you've been told about who you are? To confront the parts of yourself that have been repressed, to finally live in alignment with your true essence? If anything in this content resonated with you, share your thoughts. What part impacted you most? Have you ever felt like you were living an identity that wasn't truly yours? Let's discuss it in the comments. And don't stop here. The journey of self-discovery is vast. Your exploration is just beginning.